Hello, dear friend Bintegers. This is Biniam on the Binteger podcast. This is episode number 15. Today we are talking and answering about the theme of integrity, especially recognizing manipulation through integrity. And so that's the premise that I am wanting to explore a little bit, how to recognize when manipulation is going on through the means of integrity and how that's helpful in that component. But first, of course, like we always do, we start off with our feelings check-in. Today, it's the weekend. I've had a very full day already. I was at a house party last night of a dear friend, and wow, we had so many people there. So that was it was very enriching. And today I got some time to go and do a couple of volunteer events. And tonight, in just a couple of hours, I'll be heading with some friends to a really big dance party, which I am so looking forward to. However, just the feelings check-in where I'm at this present moment. There's a bit of sadness. I was just sending a message here to a dear friend, and she and her family, they just had their house burned down. So they've lost everything. And so I'll be attending later this week a fundraiser just to try and help them sort of get back on their feet again. It's just a really terrible time for that devastating occurrence to happen. So I'm feeling sad about that, and I'm looking forward to going and encouraging this friend and her family. And then in the pleasant category of emotions, I am feeling joyful and eager because I can't wait to spend hours on the dance floor tonight. It was so many others. It's going to be a packed out event tonight, this dance event, and so I'm so looking forward to it. And I'm also feeling joyful because it just brings something out of me where I indulge in, it's just so good when I'm on the dance floor. There's just this sense of expression. Like I can artistically express myself physically, and I really enjoy that. I've never taken formal dancing, but I love expressing and the creativity that goes into moving my body to the rhythm and the beats and the music. It's so good. I'm really looking forward to it. Let me review some emotions with you from my emotion cards that I'm using from the Love Smart card set that I have found really helpful. You can also do this with a feelings wheel, which you can search on the internet. It's a fantastic resource. Part of walking with integrity means that we're learning how to be honest with ourselves, learning how to be honest with how to identify what's going on in our heart space and our mind space. And for years, I did not know how to do that, but I believe this is a really critical part of how we grow into integrity is by coming at understanding about ourselves. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, even while we talk about recognizing manipulation through the means of integrity. So here are 5 additional vocabulary words describing various states of unpleasant emotions that I want to share with you so that you can tuck these away for use later, so you can describe and say, here's where I'm at. Embarrassed, depressed, stressed, angry, and worried. Let's try those again. Embarrassed, depressed, stressed, angry, and worried. And then in the pleasant emotion categories, we have enthusiastic, confident, passionate, amused, and fascinated. Again, enthusiastic, confident, passionate, amused, and fascinated. May those serve you well as you continue to embark on this endeavor of getting to know yourself and giving yourself the gift of self-awareness by way of practicing it. All right, once again, recognizing manipulation through integrity. Yesterday, we were talking a little bit on the topic of manipulation and how I was saying it undermines integrity. When one participates in manipulation, it undermines their integrity. And I was talking to you about it because I've seen enough in the social interactions culturally where, especially guys, but it's both men and women, we engage in manipulative tactics and acts that undermines our integrity. And I never actually got around to defining what manipulation is. So very simply, I believe manipulation is the desire to control or influence another person at their expense through deceptive means. It's like, I want to get something from you, but I'm going to be underhanded in the way I do it. I'm going to be deceiving in the way that I present my intentions. I'm going to hide my cards. I'm going to think, like, make you think you're really addressing or getting this when really I've got this agenda. And so that's what manipulation is. It's that desire to influence or to control someone else at their expense. It's not in service to them. It's more like predatory in some sense. It's more like parasitical, where you're like, I'm going to use you for my own benefit, regardless of if it's also for your benefit as well. And so this is in contrast to those who are committed, those of us Bintegers who are committed to walking with integrity. One of the simplest ways I can think of walking with integrity is the willingness to show our cards and say, here are what my intentions are. Here's how I can advocate for myself. That's why we do this feelings check-in, to say, how am I aware of where I'm at? For some of us, because we've never practiced that, it's a very difficult thing to say, well, what do you mean by that question? I don't know how I feel or what I'm thinking about myself. It's because we've never practiced that part of ourselves. But when we practice, when we start growing in awareness of what it means to be us, what it means to be us in this moment emotionally, because emotions are a significant part of our frame and existence, right? Emotions are the things that helps us express what's going on in any given moment. And there's such a wide range of emotions in life, isn't there? From excitement and happiness and joy to grief and sadness and pain to anger and feelings that are really big and powerful that sometimes are difficult to navigate. And the more we're able to be aware of what's going on emotionally, the more we can start speaking to and addressing and acknowledging and giving space for whatever those emotions are. It's a really helpful skill to have, and a critical one for those of us who are committed, again, to walking with integrity. So let me talk a little bit about, again, the definition of integrity. I love reviewing this over and over. Listen, on a podcast that's specifically geared to talking and exploring about integrity, I don't think I get tired of defining what it means to me. And this is just my definition. I'd love to hear your definition as you think of what it means to you. This is why we have an ongoing conversation. This is why we create this space to be able to talk and dialogue about ideas. So drop me a comment if you have some ideas as you listen to mine. My definition of integrity is when your internal values, when your internal principles, when your internal belief system aligns with your external actions. Now that sounds fairly simple until you start noting, not only yourself, but also in those around you, how much of a gap there is when people have a certain set of values that they subscribe to, but they never actually follow through on it. So they might say something like, I believe honesty is really important, while they continue to lie, right? Or they might say something like, I believe it's really important to respect everyone, while they disrespect some people in their lives, for example. And so there's this really critical component of alignment that happens when you say, what's going on the inside by way of my subscription system to what I believe at the core. Here's what it really means for me to place into that hierarchy what you feel is really important value-wise. I value X, Y, and Z. These are the things that I think are really like my top ones that I want to commit to. And then you take that belief system, and you translate it to your actions. It starts off internally and then moves external, where you show by your actions what you really believe. That's why you'll find some parents struggling in this way when they say to their kids, don't do as I do, do as I say. They're showing that they have a discord in what they believe and how they're actually operating. And then they want to hypocritically go to their kids and say, do as I say, not do as I do, because it's harder to actually make that transition from doing what we believe, doing what we believe. That's the difficult challenge there. So the alignment, again, of the internal values with our external actions. And the second part is while being true to ourselves. That's again why we do this feelings check-in at the outset of this podcast. We spend time and devote space to that because I want to normalize, I want to inspire, I want to encourage, I want to challenge you, my dear Binteger, to become aware of yourself. A huge part of walking with integrity is know yourself. Know what it means to be you. Know what it is that is going on for you internally. Know how to speak honestly about yourself. So when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're like, yeah, I'm here on purpose. I know why I'm doing, etc. That's the really critical part. So being true to yourself is that stepping into honesty with yourself. That's the beginning part of walking with integrity. And as you do so, you're also being respectful of those around you. And so that's really important. Now I want to contrast this idea of integrity with manipulation and why it's through integrity that you can recognize what manipulation looks like. If manipulation is hiding your cards and not being upfront about your intentions, integrity is the exact opposite, where it says, I'm going to show you my cards by speaking what my intentions are and following through on it with my actions. It's like saying, let me give you a couple of scenarios. And I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios again from the social life that most of us might be familiar with when we go out and spend time with people, right? Let's say it's on a Friday night or a Saturday night where we're looking forward to going and spending time with friends. The manipulative individual, let's say he's a guy who's interested in women and he wants to go and connect romantically with a woman. When he uses manipulative tactics, he's going to do such things, such terrible things, such awful things, where he'll go about trying to do false flattery. He'll do things like giving false compliments and putting on a fake persona and doing whatever it is to get to his agenda, maybe sleeping with the woman that he's interested in, but he'll do it with deceptive means by not really showing his true intentions. He's not upfront. He doesn't have the courage. He doesn't have the gutsiness to say, hey, I'm interested. I'm going to show you all my cards and here's what my intentions are. He'll hide those and try to go roundabouts to get his aim at the expense of this individual. He does not care about how he's going to leave this individual's heart and what kind of havoc he's going to wreak. He's just in it for his own needs at the expense of someone else. Now, those who are committed to walking with integrity, however, will show the card saying, hey, I like you. I would love to get to know more about you. I want to show you what my intentions are. I want to focus my time with you. If you're game and if consent is in place, would you like to explore this with me? I would love to be able to see this experience for the two of us if you are also as inclined. They're showing their intentions in the cards, and then they're following through about their belief system, saying, I'd like to apply these beliefs where I want to give you respect and kindness and consent and all those things by also doing it in action. There's a contrast. Now, how integrity shows a manipulative person is in the following way. Listen carefully here as I break this down in the last minute or so here. When you know yourself, that's the second part of the definition. While being true to yourself, you know yourself well, you know what your intentions are. And then as you engage with others, you're also trying to understand what their intentions are with you. Why are they talking to you? Why are they engaging with you? What are their motivations, if you will? And you may not be able to see this right off the bat. I know for many women, especially who I talk to, they usually operate off of the intuition system, saying, ooh, something's off here right away. They can tell and they'll just kind of make their calls. But for me, I like being able to give this individual a chance by way of saying, I'm going to give you a blank slate here and I'm going to watch you carefully to see if your values that you talk about align with your actions, and that for me usually takes time. And I can only tell if those follow through for this individual over time. I need to give them some time. And if they don't, but they're saying something but doing something else as they try to engage with me to get something from me, that's usually a cue that there is manipulation on point there. And that's when I start saying, something doesn't jive here because your internal values that you talk about are not aligning with your actions, and yet you're just trying to get something from me as we spend time together for a certain end, and that just does not work. So I would argue that the more you are able to experience integrity for yourself, the more you're able to grow in your ability to walk with integrity, the easier it is for you to tell what manipulation looks like when it comes your way. And so that's a really important thing. So the big key difference there in how long it takes for a person to understand if there's manipulation on display as they perceive it through the lens of integrity is, how familiar are you with walking with integrity? How quickly can you spot those discrepancies between internal values and external actions? That's a really helpful factor. Dear Bintegers, I hope this has been a helpful discussion here. I want to inspire and encourage you to continue. It's worthwhile to walk with integrity. Won't you join me as we do so together to change the world? I believe this is possible. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.